Trey Young got traded. The Wizards got Trey Young, and they sent out CJ McCollum, an expiring contract, and also Corey Kispert, who's on a 4-year, $54 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. It is really good value. I feel like he's a solid player.
I don't think he played a lot of Washington.
He really did not. I feel like Atlanta came out on top in this deal because, number one, I do think that Trey Young right now, the lower body injuries have affected his game a lot. And it's just he doesn't play defense. He's inefficient. I understand the allure somewhat, bringing in a playmaker to Washington to help out those wings and Alex Sarr develop a little bit more, bring in some stability at point guard because they don't have a point guard right now. But I think Atlanta, it just went to show that like nobody was interested for Trey Young. Nobody wanted his type of archetype. We had contending teams like Minnesota that clearly needed a point guard, and they said, Trey Young, we're good. $40 million for that guy, for what he provides, we don't want it. And for Atlanta, up until 2028, I think for the next 2 seasons, they're going to have Jalen Johnson under contract, who he's making $30 million per year. And I think they might have him locked in for, I think, a season after that too. But that's their highest salary. You have Jalen Johnson, Alexander Walker, Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Okongwu, now Corey Kispert, and some of those role players locked up for the next couple of seasons. So this isn't a team that now is in a financial situation that is dire. They have flexibility to make real moves. They have a potential top 3 pick in this upcoming draft to bring in a real superstar talent to this team. I think Atlanta is in like the best position they've been in as a franchise in a while. Like, you know, moving off of Trey Young provided them even more flexibility. And I mean, at the very least, they were able to get back a role player. And I feel like, would you rather get back a role player, or would you rather pick up Trey Young's $49 million option and then pay him long term? I feel like it was easy.
I'll say this. I think about Minnesota, and I don't know if they could have given a better package than McCollum and Kispert, truthfully. McCollum has not missed a game up until this most recent point. He'd been giving Washington really strong minutes, had been a strong provider for them on the offensive side of the ball. We know that he can play make a bit. One of the better three-point shooters in the league. This was a good move objectively for Atlanta. Now, I think that when you take a step back and you understand Trey Young is still a great talent in this league. I'm not going to be the guy that jumps ship and says that Trey Young is no longer a good basketball player. He's not going to be useful to an NBA team. Do I agree that his limitations do negatively impact winning? To a certain degree. But he is still one of the best playmakers in the association by far. And when you have these young cats the way that Washington does, they need a guy that's going to put them in position to score the basketball and to continue to grow their game. The Hawks needed to make this move because they needed to free up the burden that was the contract that was Trey Young, plus the idea that potentially you're either forced to sign him or let him walk for nothing. That was obviously going to be a case where Atlanta at minimum was able to get something back, and another shooter in Corey Kispert as well. So now there's more shooting on Atlanta, shooting that I'm sure Trae Young would have loved, but you needed to make this move if you were Atlanta. For Washington, you're building for the future, you're building for next season. I think that, did you mention it already in this episode, talking about him giving praise to Denny Avdia? It's true. What you said is facts. Washington should have never moved off Denny without a shadow of a doubt. But you still bring in a guy like Trey Young in Washington. It's hard to bring a player of the caliber of Trey Young. You're getting him at a very strong discount because he's not that same player. But Washington is building something on the defensive side of the ball that they feel like they can mask Trey Young's insufficiencies, which they're definitely real due to his height and due to his wear and tear on his body, which I'm surprised at, truthfully.
Yeah, it was honestly at both sides. I like the deal. You know, for Washington, they've just been so bad for so long that if Trey Young is healthy, which seems like it'll be next season, the reports are that he's probably not even going to play this year, which kind of feels like a win-win because they could still get.
They don't know if they're going to pay him.
Say that again.
Washington doesn't know if they're going to pay him.
They're going to just let him walk.
They traded nothing to get
I
him.
guess
And he's not playing this year.
Is that the report though?
that it's more like I think they'll pay him because I feel like if you're
Well, he'll
Washington,
definitely pick up the option, so he'll be there next year.
Yeah, he'll be there for at least one season.
yeah, for sure. So
But
I mean,
after that, who knows?
After that, who knows? But I'm saying at least for one more season. Washington has just been obviously bottom of the barrel in terms of NBA. They've been picking, towards the top of the draft for some years now. So for at least one season, they should be in the East like a play-in team next year. I think if Trey Young's healthy, especially if you're getting a top 3
wishful
pick.
thinking.
And say it again.
That's wishful thinking.
I don't know if you get another top
You're
3 pick
saying
next year.
at the end of next season.
Yeah. Next
Okay,
season,
understand.
If you get a healthy Trey Young, I think he raises your floor if he's healthy. This is still a guy that could give you 26 and 12 a night, right? Like he has so many issues, and you spoke about it. I'm not going to sit here and say like he's a perfect basketball player. It's far from. But for Washington, who's just been so terrible for so long, I think it gives you some level of competency going forward that we have all these young players, but now we have someone that can also play make, especially for a guy like Alex Sarr, who you could have a pick and roll combination, a lob threat there. I think it'd be good for his development and just the team overall, just bringing some more playmaking in for these young players because you want to see them be able to progress as their careers go on. So for Washington, for what you gave up, Kispert and CJ McCollum, I think that's a win, right? You bring some sort of excitement, I think, to the fan base who, if you're a Wizards fan, God bless you, you've been watching these games for the last few years because it's been a really bad team. So from that perspective, I like it. And for Atlanta, the relationship, it just seemed too far gone at this point. Trey Young had been the face for the Hawks for so long, obviously had the ECF run some years ago. But since then, it's been disappointing. I think it's a combination of Trey Young being disappointing, his game regressing due to inefficiency just from the three-point shot, then now the injuries in the last couple of seasons, and then the players they've surrounded him with too, right? The DeJounte Murray deal didn't work out. The Porzingis deal right now isn't working out. So it's been on both parties. It's been on Trey not holding up his side of the bargain. It's been on the Hawks not holding up their side of the bargain. With that being said, though, now it feels like you're being able to build those pieces with Jalen Johnson, with Dyson Daniels and some of these guys. So it felt like the relationship was just past due. You were able to get Corey Kispert, CJ McCollum, a couple of role players that, are they long-term pieces? Probably not. But they still need a guy. Like, I love Jalen Johnson. I think he's really good, but they still are a few pieces away from being a true real playoff series contender in my eyes.
This is tough. I think last year they made those moves with the benefits of hopefully it works out for Trey Young, but we still want to build this team within this, right? With thinking past Trey Young too. I think the Dyson Daniels additions, picking Ricochet, bringing in having Jalen Johnson, bringing in Porzingis. Like, they built this team with the mindset of whether it's Trey Young or whoever, this is how we want to build our team. Young, scrappy, athletic, long wings on the perimeter. And I think for this year, for Trey Young, just with him being injured, him also just regressing as a player, it not really working out for him. And I think, like you said, they made the right move inevitably. I thought they'd get at least some seconds. Like, him going for just CJ and Corey Kispert just speaks on the market of the type of guards at that size. I think it's tough. But for Atlanta, still have the Pelicans pick. I do think it's going to be interesting because you mentioned it. I still feel like they need a half-court creator. Hopefully that Pelicans pick turns 1, 2, 3. And then they pick one of the big three. As for Washington,
you're still out?
I don't know. Trey Johnson doesn't want to guard anybody.
Yeah.
Bilal can't score on anybody. Sarr's
His defense is amazing.
It is, but it's hard to keep him on the floor. Sarr and Keyshawn George are your two
They're
bright
awesome.
spots.
Yeah.
The depth around the team sucks. Still trying to figure out what type of coach they have.
I think Bub will benefit from Trey.
Hopefully, whenever he plays,
Yeah.
Trey Young has to play.
Just being in the building alone, though.
Yeah, it screams. The deal was there. There was nothing to give. Give up CJ and Corey Kispert.
Do you think another team could have gotten Trey Young for a better deal than what Washington gave, though?
I don't think it's more about the deal. I think it's about the damaged goods. If you're in Minnesota, we're gonna move off to get Trey Young. He's not gonna play this year.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with that.
Yeah,
but who would Minnesota have given?
Probably Nas Reed and Michael
Hell
Conley.
fucking no.
Straight, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest.
Wait, for Atlanta, Nasri's better than Corey Kispert.
No,
no.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm Minnesota, that's insane.
But that's the thing is
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I think Trey Young, the reality of it, Trey Young had no value.
Yeah.
No team in the
injuries
NBA
messed him
outside
up.
of the worst team in basketball said we want
And that
him
was
on
only
our team.
because I feel like Trey Young said
I
came
want
out.
get me
I
to
wanna go
Washington.
Well, because I think he knew that Washington was the only team that wanted him. So
And
he's
you want to
like,
know why? Because
yeah.
Washington is the only team that has cap space that
Yep.
can pay him.
Yep.
And Trey Young knows that at this point in his career, I mean, let's be honest.
He's got one contract left.
He made a move to get paid, not to win. That's what he did. And
Whoa.
I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking
Yeah,
it.
that's
You know,
winning.
Washington to win.
Yeah, it is winning in life
No,
for
yeah, that's
sure.
winning.
But Washington, maybe all their young players pan out and they're able to be a fun, competitive team that wins basketball games. But Trey Young, I'm sure him and his agents said, listen, this place, this is where you're going to get paid. Next year, their highest paid player is making less than $13 million. They're paying nobody. They can easily accept your option, and because there is a floor for how much you have to spend as an NBA team every year.
Which
So
is so stupid.
regardless if you are paying Trey Young $49 million or you're paying somebody else in free agency that much money, you have to pay somebody.
Yeah, that's
so
another stupid thing. Like, why are you forcing teams to pay players?
Because I think it probably keeps you trying to be competitive.
It's just like, dude,
But
it's
NFL
like,
teams are
Save
able
the salary
to
yeah, it's
continue to
like
grow their
how
salary
Houston
cap.
had to pay Fred and had to
Yeah.
like they have to spend
That
that
kind
money.
of worked out though.
Yeah, low key, I just feel like why you already cripple teams with the second apron. You can't make trades
True.
in consecutive years.
True.
Now we gotta force you to pay these. Like, if my team is ass, I'm not giving a bum $30 million.
There's probably a salary floor in the NFL. I would imagine.
I think
Yeah,
there is. I think there is.
probably hope- I hope so.
Like that's the reason why when we had the bump in how much players got paid, the explosive offseason when KD went to the Warriors, the reason why the Warriors were able to make that move is that every team got a boost in cap space. There is a reason why Nick Batum got like an exorbitant amount of money from the Hornets.
Well, the Cincinnati,
It's because
they
they
don't
needed
pay
to spend that
anybody.
money.
The Bengals, yeah, they're notorious for being cheap, but there's still a floor. I don't know, say.
I'm pretty sure there is a floor in the
I think
NFL
so, there
too,
is, yeah.
but
Yeah.
there you have to reach a certain amount. So
Mm-hmm.
the Wizards need to pay somebody. They're not paying nobody, and Trey Young knows that he could get paid with Washington.
But they're talking about they you know what, that's the funny part about the situation. I don't know what report is true, what's not, but what just going off what we know right now, allegedly, they don't even know if they're gonna pay him. So it's really a gamble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're getting that. First of all, that option was a player option. No, it's a team option.
If it's a team,
It's a player
It's a player option. So he was wherever he was
Hey.
going, he was gonna accept that money.
Is he?
Yeah, wherever he was going, like 48 mil. I'm
He's not
accepting
getting
that.
that on open
Yeah, I
market.
think he's
Really?
smart
Nah,
enough.
I don't think
You
so.
don't decline that money.
I mean, we got like the Hawks tried to build around Trey Young, and
One time.
they failed in multiple attempts. Yeah, you're right. You know,
Wouldn't you argue that drafting Ricochet was for Trey Young?
It was for whatever guard was gonna be there.
Maybe I am blindsided by everything that's transpired with the Hawks.
It all started with Lord Pierce was a failure. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, failures. DeJounte Murray, failures.
They gave up on DeAndre Hunter way too quickly. He
Well,
finally starts playing basketball at a really high level, and then they trade him.
He didn't fit. He was coming off the bench. That
But
was his
he
best
was
year.
cooking.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think Atlanta right now, I think they're in a great spot. Like I think
I'm not going to disagree, but for the Trey Young era, this is kind of where I'm focused on. For the Trey Young era,
you were going to win with him anyway.
all of their moves, it seemed, was around Trey.
Maybe for the first couple of years, last couple of seasons, it definitely felt like they were making moves to build an identity. I think the Alexander Walker signing identity.
Dyson Daniels is a move to help relieve.
He's also been dog shit.
No, agreed. But last year, I'm saying mainly, like, you brought him
was a
in
gamble.
because of defense. He played way better than you anticipated. I agree. This year, he's been struggling. Zachary Ricochet, another 3-and-D wing. Obviously,
But the
Jalen
Dyson
Johnson.
trade was just getting off of DeJounte.
Correct.
It wasn't
really a
off.
gamble.
It wasn't off. It wasn't. Let's build this
Wasn't
around
for
Trey Young. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, okay, the Pelicans want DeJounte because he's also somebody else that nobody really wanted, and they're willing to give us Dyson and somebody else.
But it's a player that, just in the theory alone.
yeah. In the theory, he might have fit, but I don't think the Hawks did that to be like, okay, we're trying to
Are we saying this in
maximize Trey
hindsight,
Young's
or am I
window.
nuts? Like, I never imagined the Hawks being so willing to just say, Trey Young, bye.
No, I mean, if you would have said this is the deal even a year ago, you
I'm
would've been
caught
crazy,
off
yeah.
guard
I mean,
by the
They made it
willingness.
so
The
fast.
reason
outside,
why
exactly.
That's why they
made
want
it
him.
so
That's what I'm
fast.
saying. Like, they just ripped the
They made
Band-Aid
it
off.
so-
That's
but
what has me.
I love franchises that do that.
I respect
Like, they
them
jumped
too.
the gun early.
Like
The reason
Brandon
why they
Ingram
did
last
that-
year,
Yeah.
that was random.
Yes. The reason why they did that though is because this year it was the most glaring it's ever been that he's not going to work out. Like this year, his numbers, his points per game averages went down. Jalen Johnson broke out. 3 players in the NBA lead their teams in points, rebounds, and assists this year. That's Jokic, Jalen Johnson, and Josh Giddey. Those are the 3.
What a list.
Jalen Johnson broke out and became an all-around offensive engine for them. So where you don't want to take the basketball out of Jalen Johnson's hands for Trey Young, you want Jalen Johnson to have the basketball.
You've been disrespectful on Jalen Johnson recently. For what reason?
This is defense.
No, I just think he still struggles as a half-court creator.
But then with Trey Young, I mean, you look at the record the Hawks had with him and without him. With him, they were dog shit. They were like trending towards Wizards. They had the Wizards win percentage when Trey Young played.
Yeah.
Versus when he didn't play, they were actually a competent team that were competing, and that the other night blew out my Knicks, and we could not fuck with them at all.
Well, you couldn't fuck with us either, but you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's us?
Pistons.
Sorry.
His Cat played terribly, and Isaiah Stewart shut his ass down. That's what happened.
That's why you've been hating on Cat.
Yeah, that's what happened. But the Hawks
really
right
what it
now,
is?
I mean, if Isaiah Stewart played in the series last year, I don't think we make it out the first round.
You guys then beat the
mean,
Celtics.
I know we
going to
did.
6 games. I mean, that to be fair to the first round, was it 6 or 7?
It was 6
game,
series.
right? But it went down to the wire.
Yeah.
Basically
Every
every
game.
Could have easily won 7. Isaiah Stewart definitely would have made a huge difference in that series. But
sure.
neither here or there. This year was just the most apparent that it's ever been that Trey Young is just not going to fit what we're doing, and he's regressing. And they looked at the downtrend and they said, we're going to bet against that, and we don't want to deal with it no more.
I get it. I
don't super hate it.
I don't super hate it either. I really will just say I never saw the Hawks going this route.
Not for this package. I mean, you could have seen Trey Young eventually getting moved, but if you would have told me it's for 2 role players, CJ
And
on
here's why I know that the Hawks realized this too late. And you could argue that they realized it maybe 2 months ago. Because if you really felt this strongly, even what you're saying, like I think it's just like coincidentally that they made all these moves that just fit around Trey. If that was the case, then why not trade him years ago when his value is actually worth something?
Well, I think
he tanked
at that
his
point
value.
you were still building around him.
tanked
He
his
was a
value.
I thought
franchise.
Porzingis and Ricochet was for Trey.
For Trey,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But that was this offseason.
And
Zach was last.
And they just pulled the bed.
The trend that I've noticed with the Hawks is all of the moves that they have been making as of recently, even the Porzingis move,
Yeah.
they made it because it was the right decision to make.
It was free.
Like, regardless if it was for Trey or not, like, they got Porzingis
assets,
for nothing.
I think. They
Did,
got
did
something.
they not trade Georges Niang for Porzingis?
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing. Like, it was like, okay, we'll
and they could
take
trade
him on.
Porzingis for AD. That's another thing. They want AD right now.
But what has Porzingis really done this season?
Well, no, nothing. He barely plays.
Exactly.
He has this sickness again, but he has $30 million expiring, which is
And that's
probably
enticing.
Like,
for
bro,
them.
the Hawks have $60 million expiring with CJ and Porzingis coming off the books. They have 6 to 7 players that are actually serviceable
But
on
does
the books for the
Dyson
next
money
couple of
kick in
years.
Next year.
Dyson's, it's still Jalen Johnson's $30 million is the most they're gonna be spending. For
No,
the
but I
next
know,
couple
but I
of
know
years.
you said 60 million cap, but that obviously probably is thinking with Dyson 7 million right now because Dyson does his money kick in next year, and that's gonna cut probably like 10 to 15 of that.
His money probably does kick in, but it won't supplant what Jalen Johnson's making. Like
No.
It's like $30 million is the most they're paying for any player, and that's a steal for for paying what they're paying Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, this team now has a lot of flexibility to make moves. Like, I wouldn't count them out in the Giannis sweepstakes at all because they will have the proper
another
ammunition
door.
to do that. But also,
What's the ammunition?
the top 3 potential pick in this draft.
I'm not giving that up for Giannis.
Okay,
With
I
all-
get
I'm
what
not.
you're saying. I get what you're saying.
They're so far away from
Like, they
winning
have
a
so much
championship.
cap-
I don't know. Giannis just makes you such an immediate threat.
Well, would you make the deal not knowing it's a top 3 pick? Like, obviously in the offseason, that's one thing.
Well,
but
you-
right now, you can make that deal because you're not guaranteed to get that.
You're not, but I just don't feel like Atlanta's so far away from a championship.
And,
even
if,
with
and,
Giannis.
if the Bucks trade for that pick without knowing it's top 3,
Well, it's always gonna be a gamble.
malpractice.
It is,
It's-
yeah.
the
Unless you do
Pelicans-
it after the lottery.
That's the only way I consider trading the pick for the
And
pick
even
if I'm
then, that's tough
Milwaukee.
At that
because
point, the
Porzingis,
Hawks-
I think his deal will be up by then. Like,
Yeah,
you have
he'd
to
be
make
the
it up.
Hawks.
Yeah.
They have now set themselves up with
Flexibility.
good, serviceable role players, flexibility for the future, and because they have 2 picks going to San Antonio relatively soon because of the DeJounte trade. Still, that pick they got from the Pelicans, they are going to if they get a top pick and it is one of those 3 best players, and we're talking about Atlanta as a team that could really rise in the East if it is one of those 3 guys.